Good morning, everybody. Hi, Christine. Hi, Kylie. Nice to see you guys again. Hope you're all doing well. Just going to give it another few minutes just to get everybody else up online. Hi, Sue. Good to see you. Oh, Jakey, that's awful. I hope you're okay. It's good to see you here, though, so I hope you get better very soon. Yeah, I heard the COVID tests aren't very nice. Hi, Karen. Good morning. Okay, what's the time? All right. Hi, Tanya. It's nice to see you. Yeah, first off, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today, and I just also want to apologise for those that didn't get their kits. We did send them out first thing this week, Monday lunchtime, which we thought would have been plenty of time, but obviously the couriers are really slammed at the moment, so some people didn't get their kits, and I am very sorry for that. But you can still follow along, and when your kit comes, you can go to our YouTube channel, Craftables NZ, and then you can just follow along from the video for later. But if you just want to follow along now, that's awesome. Good morning, Charlene and Rabina. Good to see you. Okay, so we'll get started. So here's our page today. So it is in the page protector, which I will show you how to do a bit later. And we have this opening mechanism here. So what this is these little pockets that we're going to put our photos in. So you can put a photo on the front and the back of these. So you can get about 12 photos on this layout, which is awesome. So if you wanted to do sort of like a COVID-19 lockdown one, you've got plenty of places to put some photos. All right, so if you want to grab your bits and pieces out of your kits. Now, some of you may have received an email from us about a paper that is missing from your kit. It's just one of these black 12 by 12 ones. If you have the kit and you don't have this paper in, you should have 3. Then just let us know in the comments, or if you put an order in, just put it in the comments that you are owed one of these pieces of paper, and we'll put it in with your next order. I am very, very sorry. There were a few that went out without this third paper there, so most of them have the paper in, but if you didn't get your third paper, you should have 3 of these in your kit. Just let us know and we'll just replace it for you. All right, so what we're going to do is this one here, we're going to grab our trimmer and we're going to cut it down to 4 inches by 12. So we need 2 pieces measuring 4 inches by 12 inches. So if you want to go ahead and grab your trimmer and cut 2 pieces 4 by 12. So I'm going to start with my 4-inch first. Now it should be 12 inches this way already. Yep. So I'm just going to cut another one at 4 inches. And I'm going to put that side aside for a bit later. So we should have 2 pieces 4 by 12. Alright, so hopefully you've got a pencil and a ruler with you as well today. Good morning, Glennis and Lynn. Good morning. Okay, so what I want you to do is grab your ruler, and on both of these pieces we're going to measure on this short side at 2 inches. So this measures 4, so we want to measure that middle point there. So just 2 inches, so 1 there, and we're going to do it again on this end here as well. So measure at 2 inches, so we're going to draw a line between the 2 now so that we have a middle point on those pieces of cardstock. So you want to do that to both of your pieces. Okay, so we have that middle point there. Okay, so do that on this piece as well. So measure halfway on both sides and then draw another line in the middle there. Morning, Sarah Jane, it's good to see you. So 2 inches that end, and 2 inches that end, and then we're just going to draw that line in between the 2. So I hope you're all settled in, because this one's going to take a little while today because there's quite a bit of measuring to do. If you fall behind, please let me know if you need me to go back over something, or if you want me to slow down. It's very hard when you've just got yourself doing this and you don't know what speed everyone's going at. So if you want to mention that I'm going a bit fast, please just mention it in the comments for me and I'll slow down. Oh, it's okay, Sarah Jane, we're just glad you're here. Okay, so we should have 2 pieces now with this middle line in the center. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start measuring on both of these pieces. So whatever we do to one, we're going to do to this one as well. I want you to measure and put a pencil mark at 4 inches along that line. So just along this line here, we're going to put a mark at 4 inches and at 8 inches. So there's my 4-inch mark there, and then my 8-inch mark, and we want to do the same down the bottom of your paper as well. So 4 inches and 8 inches there. Okay, right, so we now have 4 inches mark here, so we're going to put a line between those 2 there, and 8 inches there, and put a line down there. So you want to do that on this one and this one, so measure 4 and 8 inches on that one as well. And we're just going to draw a line between the 2. I know black is a little bit hard to see what I'm doing, but I'll try and do some close-ups so that you can see. Okay, so I've just got my 4-inch, my 8-inch mark, and then I've this, so we'll end up with 3 4-inch places there. So you just want to put a line down there. So you want to do that, and you want to do the same on this one. So along that pencil line, we're going to do a 4-inch and an 8-inch. Down the bottom, we're going to do a 4-inch and an 8-inch, and put the 2 together there. I hope you'll excuse the background noise. I'm just trying to do this in the shop at the moment, so we may have customers coming and going. Okay, so 4 inches, 8 inches, and then just measure those lines together. You're not going to see these lines, and we can rub these lines out if you do see them later, so don't be too shy in making a nice strong pencil line there. Okay, so again, 4 inches, 8 inches, we're going to do those lines there. So you should have 2 pieces now with those 2 marks on them. Right, everybody doing okay? Right, so what we want to do now is we're going to come and measure along the top of these 2 pieces now. So your first measurement along the top is going to be 2 inches, 6 inches, and 10 inches. Okay, so along this top line, along the top of this piece, we're going to do 2, 6, and 10 inches. All right, okay, so 2, 6, and 10. Now what we're going to do with those points there is we're going to draw over on an angle to all the points that we've done there. So this one here, this 10-inch point here, we're going to draw a diagonal from that point down to the top of that halfway line. And then I'm going to draw a line from that top point to that pencil mark there. Hey, Raina. Oh, you're missing a piece? Yep, just come in and grab it if you can. Yep, so just come in and grab it if you can. If you can't come in and grab it and you want to put an order together, we can just put an extra piece in with your order. So I'm very sorry about that, Rona. Alright, so basically we've made this little house. So we've got our roof here and our little house there. So what you want to do is carry on doing your diagonal lines matching up to these points. Okay, so you want to do that on both of your pieces. Hi Kayleen, it's good to see you. Oh, I'm sorry your cat didn't turn up. We are really sorry about that. We've just had so many courier problems. We had problems with our printer and computer this week. It's just been a week actually. So hopefully you should get it very soon. If you don't, Kayleen, can you let us know? And we'll track it for you. Okay, so how's that going, everyone? Alright, so we now have these 3 little houses on here. So we've got the 3 little roofs and the 3 little houses. So you will now need to do that on this one as well. So we'll go ahead and do those marks at 2 inches, 6 inches and 10 inches again. So right at the top, 2, 6 and 10. Okay, so 2, 6 and 10. Right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take that point there and we're going to diagonal pencil line down to that middle center point there. Okay, so just carry on along the top there. So we've got 2 identical pieces in the end. There we go. And the last one. Oh, that'd be good, Gayleen. Thank you. Alright, so my last pencil markers there. I hope everyone's keeping up okay. Please let me know if I'm going too fast. Right, so hopefully we now have 2 pieces with our little houses on. Right, so what we want to do is we want to cut those on those diagonal lines so we end up with those houses only. So just cut up those diagonal lines and cut them right out. So we're just cutting these triangles at the top out. We're not cutting anything down the bottom just yet. So we're going to go ahead and cut all of those out on both of your pieces. And the next one. If you are watching or you've got your bits and pieces there ready to go, if you have a page protector and a whiteboard marker or a pen, just go and grab those things, because I'm just going to show you how to put this into your page protector so that you can put it into your album. So if you've got those things on hand, grab them, and at the very end I'll just show you how to put your layout into your album. Okay, so we've got that one there with our 3 points there, and I'm just going to go ahead and do these ones on there as well. Oh, sorry, Robina. I'm very sorry for those that didn't get the sheet, but we will definitely get them to you. And if you do comment on here, then we'll have a mention of who we need to send them out to. And if you are putting an order in, then just mention in the comments that we owe you a black sheet of paper, and we'll just put that in with your order. I am so sorry. We don't usually have that sort of problem. Okay, so we now, hopefully everybody's got these 2 pieces here now. Right, so we're just going to put those aside, and we're just now going to use another piece of cardstock, and we're now going to, let me just turn my instructions over. Okay, we're now going to do the pieces that go on the end of these, because we want to extend these out to 5 points. So we've now got 3 points. We want another 2 on this side here. So those ones we're going to get to in a moment. I want you to cut another 2 pieces measuring 4 by 12 again. So grab your trimmer, and we're just going to measure 4 inches. So you should have enough on that last piece that you did before, and it will end up measuring 12 inches that way. So one of those and another piece, another 12 by 4 out of another piece of your black cardstock. Okay. So 4 inches by 12. I'll put this aside for later. Yeah, sorry Jackie, we sent everything out first thing on Monday, and we've just had so many late couriers. I ordered something for the shop nearly 2 weeks ago, and I only just received it yesterday. So I do feel a bit sorry for the couriers. They've got a lot going on at the moment, but just let me know though if it doesn't turn up, and if you haven't seen it in the next couple of days, let us know and we'll try and track it for you. Right, so we've got 2 pieces measuring, what was it, 4 by 12 again. Right, so grab your pencil and your ruler, and we do have a bit of measuring to do on this one as well, on both of these as well. So both of these are going to be the same measurements on both of them, but I'll just keep going through the measurements for you. So we want to make that 2-inch mark down these sides again so that we have that middle line. So go ahead and mark down both short sides at 2 inches. And then we're just going to draw a line between those 2 to have our centre line again. There we go, across there. So I'm just going to do one at a time. So we'll do this one completely, and then we'll go back and redo this one, and I'll give you measurements for both. Okay, so don't worry if you're missing measurements, because I'll just keep going through them. Alright, so hopefully you've now got this centre point in the middle at 2 inches on this side here. We're just along this line, we're going to put our ruler on that line, and we're going to put some more pencil marks at 2.5. No, sorry, just ignore me. I'm reading the wrong one. What is it? Oh, a 1/2 inch. So put a pencil mark at 1/2 inch, 4.5, 8.5, and 9. So 1/2 inch, 4.5, 8.5, and 9. So if you want to go ahead and do those across there, so 1/2, 4.5, 8.5, and 9. And we want to do the same measurements down along this bottom piece, because again we're going to put lines down there. So right along the bottom there, 1/2 inch, 4.5, 8.5, and 9. Okay, right, so when you've got those measurements, we're just going to draw a line between the 2 again. Hopefully you can see my pencil marks. If you can't see them, please just ask for a close-up so that you can see them a bit better. So you should have 4 lines along the bottom of that piece there. Okay, so we've got a smaller bit there. We've got our 4-inch ones there, and a little one on the end. So we're going to go ahead and do the same on this one now. So just swap them over. Put a mark down the short end at 2 inches. So 2 inches that side. Going to go to this end and do 2 inches at that side as well. Here we go. And then just draw your line between the 2 again. Okay, all up to that one. Right, so we're just going to go along this line again, put your ruler on that line again, and we're going to do another 1/2 inch mark, 4.5, 8.5 and 9. 1/2 inch, 4.5, 8.5 and 9. So we're going to go down the bottom of that piece and do those measurements again. So 1/2 inch again down the bottom, 4.5, 8.5 and 9. Great. So we're just going to put a line between those ones again there. There we go. So just put those pencil marks there. One at the 4.5. And the last one there. Great. So we now have two pieces that look the same, hopefully. Right, so on this piece again now, so one of the pieces again, we want to put our ruler at the top of this paper, right up to the end. And we put a pencil mark at 2.5 and 6.5. So right at the top of your cardstock here, first pencil mark is 2.5, and then come to 6.5 and put another measurement there. Right, so what we want to do now is we want to go on a diagonal again, but when we do a diagonal, we do not want to put our diagonal on this piece. We want to put our pencil mark from this point to that piece there. So I'll quickly do it and then I'll show you. So on a diagonal, so you want to put your diagonal meeting up with this first little line, not that one there. So put a pencil mark from that point down to your first pencil mark line there. And then the same for this one. So we're going to go from that point down to that line there. And then we're just going to go back again. So this one will go on the first pencil line again. So I'll show you in a moment what I mean. Okay, so this one, so I'll just move that out of the way so you can see behind me. So we've gone from that point down to that mark there, that one there. So we don't want to go right to the end. We want to come to this point here. All right, so this one comes to that first line, and this one comes to that line we did there. I hope that's making sense. Oh, good, Kayleen. I'm glad to hear that. So now we're just going to do the other side, so we end up with these little houses again. Okay, can we see that okay? Great. Right, so we want to go ahead and do that the same on this one as well. So put your ruler at the top of your paper, and we're going to put a pencil mark at 2.5 and 6.5. And then we're just going to draw those lines to that first line there. So that one there again, so that first pencil line. Then we're just going to do another one from that point down to there. Oh, good, Lynn. Good job. So we're just going to go ahead and do the little peaks again. So don't forget when we do this one, it just comes to that vertical pencil line there. Okay, so we should have that. Great. Right, so now we want to carry on and cut those two pieces out, so we end up with two little houses on these ones. So we're going to cut up that line first and go across and then up to your peak. So cut that out there. So that's my first line there. Come across and then cut up onto your peak. Alright, down to that one, and then we want to come across to that line there. So what we've ended up doing is we've got two little peaks, and then we've got two little tabs on either side. So these little pieces here are your tabs. Alright, so that one's done. So go ahead and cut this one out as well. So up that outside line first. And across, so we're cutting out a tab there, and then we're going to carry on up on the peaks there. Good morning, Esther. It's good to see you. So glad you could join us today. Here we go. So now, hopefully, you've got 2 of those and 2 of these now. So we're going to actually put these together because we want to make a 5 pocket, not a 3 pocket. You could make a 3 pocket if you wanted to, as long as you've got an odd number of pockets, you should be fine. So I'm doing 5, so these I needed to have an extra piece on the end here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue those together. So where that tab is, I'm going to put a bit of glue along there, and I suggest you do use glue because this is going to be an opening mechanism, so we want it to be stuck down really well. So just put some glue along that first little tab, and then we're just going to line it up on there like that. So we're just popping the tab onto that one with the 3 peaks. So you can't see the whole thing, but we end up with 5 little peaks along here. So if you want to go ahead and do the same to this one, so just put a little bit of glue on your tab here. And then just pop it onto your one with the 3 peaks on there. So now you should have 2. Sorry, my light just went out. There we go. So you should have 2 pieces with 5 peaks on there now. And that's perfect. Okay. Now, what we're going to do now is we want to cut into these vertical lines so that we can now put both of these pieces together. So just on one of the pieces, grab your ruler again. And on each of these vertical lines, I want you to measure up 1 inch and put a pencil mark. Okay, so you've got that one there. So we've gone up that vertical line, and then we've got a pencil mark at 1 inch. So go ahead and do that to all of your vertical lines. So up 1 inch and put a pencil mark. That's it. So carry on down your line. Alright, so there's 4 marks there you need. So we've got one here, so up 1 inch, put a mark there, up 1 inch on that one, up 1 inch with a pencil mark, and that one there. So there's 4 vertical lines you need to put your pencil marks on. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab your scissors and we're just going to cut that up to that vertical line up to that point you've just done. So that mark I've just made, I've now got a cut up to that line. So we want to carry on and do that for all of those. Even that one where you've got your join there. Okay. So just cut up to that pencil line 1 inch. So 4 of those vertical lines now have a slit in them there. So go ahead and do that with this one as well. So measure up 1 inch on all of your vertical pencil lines and make a mark. But don't cut it just yet. So 1 inch on each of those lines. Here we go. Now, because this one we were cutting from the bottom up, this one we want to cut from the top down to that pencil line now. So we're going to turn it round, and that 1 inch mark you've made, we're going to cut down into there to that 1 inch. So now we're doing our cut line from the top down. So from the top down to your 1 inch there. Another one there, and my last one here. There we go. So, right, so what that means is we now have one piece with the cut lines coming from the top down, and we have the other piece with the cut lines from the bottom up. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to score on those peaks now. So if you want to grab your scoreboard or your trimmer to do your scoring, just grab mine over. Okay, so I'm just going to flip my board over so that I can do my scoring. That just gives me an edge to push up against. So I'm just going to grab one of these, and I want you to score on that point down. So this one, my first one is going to be 2.5 inches. So basically all you're doing is you're scoring from that point down to the bottom there. So the first score line is going to be about 2.5 inches, and the second one should be 6.5. So if you want to just go ahead and carry on scoring down there. So I'm just putting mine anywhere on my scoreboard just so that I've got a straight line there from that point down. So don't worry about the numbers for that, because we do just want to do from the peak down. Okay, so you should have 5 score lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I am just going to score. No, I'm not going to score that piece. Don't score that piece. Just ignore that. So I'm going to do the same on my other piece now. So again, I'm just going to score down. Need a bit more glue on there, I think. Here we go. So I'm just going to score from my peak down into the middle there. So we want to do that on all those 2 pieces of long peaks. Okay, so I'll just give you guys a few seconds to do that. Alright, so we're just going to fold on those score lines again. Just a little bit of a fold. It doesn't have to be a big fold at the moment. Oops, sorry about the phone, everybody. Okay, so you now have 2 pieces here. 2 pieces here with all your 5 peaks on. You've got your cut marks, one at the top to the middle, one from the bottom to the top, and your score lines there. Okay, right, so now I'm just going to move my trimmer out of the way, and we're going to put this together to make our pocket. Right, so to do this, you just might need to fiddle with it a little bit. The scoreboards, those trimmers and scoreboards are amazing, Kayleen. I don't use anything else anymore because you've got 2 in 1 there, and it's got great measurements along the top. So you've got centimetres, you've got inches, you've got the 1/8 of an inch marks. They are really good. Right, so we're going to take the one that we've got cut from the bottom to the top, and that one from the top to the bottom. So we're just going to slip those 2 together like that, so they match up down the bottom. So go ahead and put those 2 together. You may need to have a little bit of a fiddle with it. So popping them on those cut lines there. So you should have them all matching up there. So I'll just give you a second to do that. Just going to have a bit of a drink of water. It's a We Are Memory Keepers board. So what it does is, I don't know if you can see very well, but up here it has all your little funny 1 inch, 1/8 of an inch, 3/8, 5/8. So it's got all your inch measurements up there. But down the bottom you also have your centimetres. Along the side of the ruler here you also have all your inch measurements and your centimetres along there as well. So it's a really great board. You just flip that over. This piece here comes in and out so that when you're cutting, your blade goes down that groove between the white and the green. And when you want to score, you just flip it over, so now you have a guide there to where you want to push up against, and then you can just score everything. The other good thing about it is that it's got that 12-inch baseboard, which is really, really good. But if you flip it over, it has these little things here that you pop out like that, and then you can fold it up so it's a bit smaller. So what that does is when you're travelling with it, you can have it down to the 6-inch mark. When you're using it, you just open it up and push those little tabs in, and that'll keep it nice and steady and straight. So they are good boards. They are the We Are Memory Keepers ones. We have got a shipment coming in really, really soon for some more of those because we've sold quite a few through the lockdown. So if you do want one, go on our website and pre-order it, and we'll get you one out. They are great. I would highly recommend them. Okay, so hopefully we've got that down now. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to fold on those score lines opposite each other. So your score line is going to fold out from each other like that. So we're just going to open this one now, and on those score lines we're going to fold them out. So fold on those score lines now and just push them down. So open that one up there and fold on those score lines. Oh good, Sarah Jane, I'm so glad it arrived. It is a great board. I really do recommend them. So carry on opening those out and folding them down in there as well. So you should end up with this weird looking centipede thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close all that up on itself now so that it's all nice and straight and even there. So now you can go ahead and really push down on those score lines. So I'm just going to use my trimmer bone folder and I'm just going to push down really well on all of those outside score lines. Don't stress too much if it's not perfectly even, like mine's not 100% even there. You can maneuver it a little bit to position it. You're not really going to notice that once you've got that in your album anyway, so don't stress too much if it hasn't quite worked out. Okay, so how's everyone going? Good? Right, so we've now ended up with this little piece here. So this is the bit that you're going to use as a pocket. So what we want to do now is those little tabs that we had here, I want you to put a little bit of glue on that tab and we're just going to fold it over and glue it to that side there. Oh, good job, Kayleen. We'll make sure you get one. So a little bit of glue on that tab. And we're just going to fold it over and just stick it down. So I'm just going to turn it over and do the same to this side. So a little bit of glue, just a tiny bit of glue along that edge there. And we're just going to glue that down there. Okay, great. So now you have, whoops, hasn't glued down properly yet. Just need to line that up a bit better. Alright, so now we have our little pockets. Great job, everybody. I'm so proud of you. Well done. Oh, my glue's not sticking. Okay, so we've now done those pockets, so we're going to put this aside and we're just going to carry on with our layout now. So that's probably half the job done. So pop your little pockets aside and we'll get on to the fun stuff of the layout. So in your kit, you will have some of the 3/4 designs from Jo Johnson and Imagine If. She does beautiful stuff. We do stock her stuff in store. Really great stuff. They produce their own papers. So big shout out to Jo and the team at Imagine If. They do a great job with their papers. They also come in kits, so you get a group of papers and sometimes you get little embellishments in your kit as well. We definitely have those on our website. Love her papers, they're beautiful. So this one here, what I want you to do is, this is going to be our base paper, so I want you to cut that border off there because we're going to use that for later. So go ahead and cut that off now. So when you've cut that off, it will measure 12 by 12 and that's going to be our base paper. My trimmer blade is so bad at the moment. They're $49.95, Andrea, and I do recommend them. They're just so easy and quick to use. So I'm just cutting that little border off because I've got a bit of fluff on the edge of because my blade's not very good. So I'm just going to cut it now. Just waiting for so much new stock to come in. We have a few new companies that we've signed up with, so we've got some really cool stuff coming soon, so keep an eye out. So everything new that is coming in will be on our website, www.craftables.co.nz. Okay, so this is our base place. Just going to move that out of the way for now. Now what I want you to do is we're going to do this little flap here now. So this piece here is the bit that our pocket is going to join to. Yeah, you're right, Jackie. I did do it around the wrong way. So you're absolutely right. Good spotting. Okay, so this is the piece that our pocket is going to go into. So you should have another piece of black cardstock there, or the leftover black cardstock that we used before. And we're going to cut that one down to measure, let me just check, 5 by 8 3/4. So I'm going to cut it short side first. So 5. And then we're going to flip it round to 8 3/4. Now I'm going to leave it there because I want to do a score line. So if you've got a board like this, we're just going to score it at 1/2 inch. Oops. And then 3/4 inch. If you don't have one of these scoreboards, then just measure. So we'll go from that way. So it's going to be 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. So if you want to go ahead and do that, that's going to be our little spine there for our little pockets to go on. Because if we didn't have a spine there, it would fold flat and you just end up with this bulky bit under there. So if we have done a little bit of a spine there. So 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. So this piece now can actually go straight onto your page layout. Now what I've done is I've put a bit of glue along the top of that tab there, and I've lined it up with the top of this border here. So I've just lined it up along that frame piece on my cardstock. So go ahead and put a bit of glue there. I am using glue this time because I want it to really stick down, because it's one of those elements that's going to be moving quite a lot. So we really want to stick that down. So I'm just going to put that sort of to the right hand side. And I'm just using that guide on the paper to line my paper up, my cardstock up there. So go ahead and do that. The scissors I've got are the Tim Holtz ones. These ones are the serrated edge, which I love, but they do leave a little bit of a serrated look onto your paper. But if they do have another pair, which is a flat cutting blade, which doesn't leave that serrated edge. The serrated edges are really good for cutting thicker stuff. We do have some coming in. I've had these on order for about 2 months now, so I'm hoping they turn up really, really soon. So we will have plenty of those in store, and I think they're about $24. So I'm just going to defluff that. Alright, so that piece there now stuck to our paper. So what we can actually do now is we can go ahead and we can stick this down. So what I'm going to do is lift that up. I'm going to cover this whole side with glue. So grab your glue, cover the whole lot with glue, really slather it on there. And then I am just going to line up this edge with the first score line. Sorry, wrong way around. The first score line that I've done on there. Okay. So I've just lined it out with my first score line, and I've just sort of kept it a little bit in the center there. So I'm going to go ahead and put another lot of glue on this side here, fold that down on the top, and just leave it there for a while so that the glue then sticks to there, so that when we open the flap, this is all going to move up. Okay, so put heaps of glue along here again. There we go. So we've got tons of glue on there. I'm just going to fold this down until it's flat and just leave that there for a little while just to let it glue and dry. So while we're waiting for that to glue down, grab this other piece here that you've got. Now I've already cut out my flowers and my butterfly. Don't worry about that flat edge. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to use that to our advantage. We're going to now turn our paper around so that we can use this piece here. So flip it right round, trim that border off, and then we're going to use this part here with that flower in the corner as the front of our, on the front of our little flap there. So go ahead and trim that border off. So this is another paper from Jo's Autumnal Equinox collection. So this is part of the same collection that we're using for this paper here. So she's done a beautiful job on these. I just love the colours. Love that daisy. It's blue and yellow. Right, so I'm going to flip that round. Now this piece here, I'm just going to pop onto my front flap there. And I'm just going to have a little bit of a black border. So like an 1/8 of an inch border around there. So I'm just going to come in and mark it a little bit further in and a little bit further in from there. So I'll give you that measurement in a moment and I'll cut mine out. So if you need a measurement, the first one is going to be just over about 4 7/8. So this piece here along here is 4 7/8, and then flip it around this way here. Just need to find my, there it is. And this way is 7 3/4. So this piece here is now going to go onto the front of our little flap there. So it's going to be a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to go ahead and defluff mine while you guys carry on with your measuring there. I'll be very glad when I get my blades. I know I've said that every week, but this is getting ridiculous. They've done me well though. They've lasted through the whole lockdown, and before that as well. We used these trimmers in class, so the blades have done pretty good. I'm just waiting for our shipment to come in now. Right. So I'm going to use tape for this one because I prefer to use tape when I'm sticking bigger areas down, because otherwise sometimes, not always, but sometimes it tends to bubble a little bit when you put it down. So I'm just going to use my double-sided tape and I'm going to put that around all sides, and then that piece there goes on the front. You're doing great, guys. You're doing so well. This is a long version of a cast, so you're doing really, really good. And we do have the hardest part done, so now it's just fun decorating. That's it. So just a bit of tape around there. If you prefer to use glue, go ahead and use the glue. That's absolutely fine. I just sometimes prefer to use the tape, because then if you do position it wrong, you can pull it back off and put it back on again. I use glue mostly when I'm doing a mechanism that moves quite a lot, and we really need it to be stuck down well. Oops, a little bit off center there. There we go. So that's the front of our flap there, and now that our glue's dried, our pockets are going to open up there. Good job, everyone. Yes, yeah, I did not move my tabs around the right way. Yes, you're absolutely right. Good spotting, everybody. So you should have a tab on the front and a tab on the back. So we're going to go ahead and now going to carry on doing this. So what I want you to do next is you've got a bit of this chicken wire die cut here. We did do this on the silhouette, but it was actually done from a die to start with, which was, I think, was a cherry lin design, which we do have in stock. This is a really good one because it's a nice square one, and you can just cut it up till your heart's content. So I'm just going to cut 2 pieces out of here. So we need to sort of, I don't know, when you cut it, just sort of don't make it square, just make it a little bit off center a little bit. So you can be a little bit creative here. So you want about half of it. So I'm going to start again here. Oops. Go that way there. Okay. So I'm just going to trim this up to make it look a bit tidier. So we're going to need to get 2 pieces out of this. So there's one there. You don't have to do it exactly the way I've done it, just as long as you can get 2 pieces out. So one's going to go on that side there, and this other one's going to go down the bottom here. So I'm just going to cut off that border there. I love using this die. So what I was talking about the silhouette before is we cut it out with the die, but because we had to do about 50 of these, it was just better for my die to do it on the silhouette. So if you do want to do something like that and you do have a silhouette cutting machine, you can cut it out in black and then you can copy it onto your Silhouette program, and then you can just cut it out from there. So if you are doing something that you need a lot of and you want to save your die a little bit, you can do it on the Silhouette machine. So that's what we did with this one. So we do have the die, we just wanted to cut more. Well, we needed to cut about 55 of them out, I think, so I just didn't want to use my die that much. And I wanted to give my poor mother's hand a break. So my mum does all our die cutting for the kits. So big shout out to Mum. Thanks, Mum. Okay, so I'll cut that one down now. So that one's going to go down on this corner here. So if you want to just go ahead and glue, put a bit of glue on the back of those. I'm just going to catch up with my instructions while you do that. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue behind there. Sorry about that, guys. So just put some glue on the back. I just do tiny little dots and strips. The art glitter glue is really good with the point on it, because thanks, Lynn. I'll let Mum know you said thanks. She does a great job, and I'm really grateful for all the work she does. So she's actually the one that puts all the kits together. It wasn't her fault missing out that third paper, because that was totally my fault. I miscalculated how many papers we needed. So sorry, Mum. Yes, so going back to the glue, this is the art glitter glue. You can buy a separate tip on there, a metal tip with a pin that goes in it. The pin is stainless steel, so it won't rust. And they are really good because, as you can see, you've got just a tiny little tip on there, and it gives you this really tiny little bits of glue on there. So I love using that glue as well. So I'm just going to pop that right up against there now. That gets stuck down there. So I'm just putting it up against the side of my pocket. And then I'm going to do the same with this one, but I'm just going to make sure that it's down the bottom right hand side of my pocket there. So just put a bit of glue on there. If you don't have a glue with a very thin point and you're finding this difficult to put glue on, grab a sponge, like even just a normal clean dish sponge. Put a bit of glue on your sponge, and then you can just dab it onto there, and that'll give you a nice even coat along there. If you have a Xyron sticker maker machine, you can run that through and it makes this into a sticker, which is really great. So if you're having trouble gluing, putting a little bit of glue on here, or you've got a really fat nozzle to put glue on, just put a bit on a tiny bit of sponge and then just dab it onto there, and that'll give you a nice thin coating and a nice even coating, and you won't end up with big blobs of glue everywhere. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that one down the bottom here like that. So I am going to have it right up against the edge here, so as close to the edge as you can get there. Okay. Yes, Karen, it can be emailed. Yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. I will have a chat with Mike and see what we can come up with, because it is a really great little die cut to have. I use my chicken wire for so many things. It just has a really nice sort of background technique to it, and I just love it. So we can look into that, Karen. Good idea. Right, so I'm just going to leave those to dry for a minute. Now, while I'm waiting for that, if you have not cut these out, I would go ahead and do that now. You can do it later, because this is an element that we're doing, putting on much later, and it's not really necessary to do it right now. So if you've cut those out, we're going to go ahead and put those on. If you haven't cut them out, don't worry, you can do that a bit later. Right, so in your kit, you should also have a piece of, oh, where's mine stuck? A little piece, a strip of this embroidery floss. So I use this stuff a lot. So this is actually the cross stitch floss that you can buy at Spotlight and stuff. We do have some in store, and I use it a lot because it's a really nice thread to use, and you can get 6 threads out of there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull one out and use that. So I'm just going to pull one of those threads out of there, and I'm going to put a big dollop of glue right in the bottom here. Oh, thanks, Rona. Oh, thank you so much, Rona. That's so lovely. Right, so I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the, just randomly on the middle here. And I'm not going to think about it too much. I'm just going to get my thread there, and I'm just going to pop it into my glue so that we have a bit of that twine showing over the top of our chicken wire there. Oops, it's all stuck to me now. Okay, so that way we've just got a little bit of that twine stuck to that chicken wire there. And then I'm just going to put my flower over top of that glue. So this one here with the flat edge on it, we're just going to pop a bit of glue on the back of that, and we're just going to put that right up against the edge of our paper there, over top of the chicken wire and the floss. Keeps getting stuck to me. So that flat edge of that flower is going to go right up against that edge there. So now we don't even notice that we've got a flat edge on there. I'm not sure actually, Karen. I will have to have a look into that for you. That is a good idea. I think that's a really great idea. Clever lady. So I'll have a chat with Mike after this live feed, and we'll see what we can come up with. Right, so we're going to do the same thing to this one here. So I'm just going to get my thread again. I'm going to pull another piece out. Yep, so just grab one of those pieces there. So the reason I use the reason I use the floss quite a lot too is because you can actually buy quite a lot of this, and you can get a lot out of it if you're using these threads. So I've got another like 4 threads in that there that I could use for later. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the middle of this one again, on there, and then I'm just going to plop that into there again. So don't think about it too much. If you start fluffing around with it too much, it's just going to stick to you like it did to me before, and it's just not going to sit nicely, and you'll just get quite stressed about where it's going. So it really doesn't need to be thought about much at all. I know that's hard sometimes. Yeah, you're right, Jackie. We would have to check into all of that, so I would have a look into all of the copyright stuff as well. Okay, so this now, our butterfly with our flower on, I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the back, and I'm now going to put that over the top of my chicken wire and my floss there again. So now we have our little butterfly over the top there. So you only just want a little bit of this floss showing. You don't want too much because it might overdo the page there. Great, you guys are doing so well. We're nearly there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue my lazy days at the top up here. If you don't want this title on there, that's absolutely fine. You do not need to put it on. You could do a title of your own. And so I'm just going to put a few bits of glue onto here. This lazy days one was a design that Michael and I came up with and did on the silhouette again. We use our silhouette a lot. It's such a great machine, so it's just so versatile. You can do so much with it. Here we go. Right, so I'm just going to pop that right at the top of my pocket here. Great, you guys are doing so well. It's been a long class today, so you're doing really good. Stick with me, guys. You're nearly there. Okay, so our next part, I'm just going to cut out my photo mats now. So if you want to cut the photo mats out with me, we can do that together. If you want to do them later so that you know what size photo mats you want for your page, well, you can go ahead and do that later if you like. You don't have to do them right now. So I'm just going to get my measurements. Right, so we want 6 black pieces, 6 pieces cut out to 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So they'll fit 3 by 4 photos. So 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and we need 6 of those. So those are going to go into your little pocket. Oh, yeah. So there's 2. So 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Gosh, my blade is so bad. Okay, so there's 4, so we need 2 more. I might just, actually what I might get you to do is do this one here now, this piece here. So this one I think is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So we're going to get you to cut this one out now, so because that's our biggest photo there. So I'll get you to do that. So 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So that's your biggest piece you're going to need. So we've got that one there now, so you can carry on with whatever leftover paper you've got to do another 2 more of your 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. And one more. So 3 1/4. So this is what that piece that we missed in some of the kits, this is what this piece of paper was for your photo mats. Now while you carry on doing that, I'm just going to defluff mine. So you need 6 pieces measuring 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 and 1 piece measuring 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. That's a good point, Esther. They might have something similar in the Silhouette store, so you could go ahead and have a look there too. Okay, so 6 photo mats, 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, 1 photo mat at 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So I'll just defluff all mine while you guys are still cutting that out. So for these photo mats, these little ones are going to go in your pocket. So you could put a photo, a 3x4, on this side and that side, and you will end up getting about 12 photos onto this layout, which is so good. So I thought it might be a really good one for like the lockdown that we've had, with all the bits and pieces you got done on your lazy days at home. Yolande Fenneman had a good idea too, with if you do have a blade that's fluffing like this, if you don't feel confident using your scissors to defluff it, you could get a nail file and you can just rub the nail file along there and that gets rid of those fluffy edges as well. I have sharpened this blade a little bit with a nail file as well. It doesn't work great, but you do get a few more cuts out of it, so I filed it down with a nail file a couple of times now, but it's definitely worse for wear at the moment. And my last defluffing one. Okay, so if you finish cutting these out, all the 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 ones will go, 5 of those will go into your pocket. Okay, so here are my 6 here. So I want 1 to go here, and then the rest of them are going to go in these little pockets. So if you can put 5 of those 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 photo mats into your little pockets there, you can put photos on both sides, so you could get 10 photos just on those pockets there. And if you wanted, you could put another little photo mat there. You could put one there so that when you open and close that, you've got another one there. So you could do a 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 one there, which I might actually go ahead and do. So this one here, I'm going to put a bit of tape on the back there, and I'm just going to pop that one down there. So that's a photo mat there for me. So if you want to pop that onto your layout now. So you should have 5 of the little mats in your pockets. One of them is to go there. So right around all 4 sides. I always do around all 4 sides just so things don't lift up and it sticks down really well. Okay, so that one is going to go here. Oh good, Lynn, I'm so glad that you're going to use it for the lockdown. When I designed it, I did have that in mind, because we probably did take quite a few like little snapshots of our life in lockdown, and I wanted to get quite a few on one layout, so it was all just there. Oh good. Oh my gosh, you had a part of your knee replaced. Wow, Kayleen, that's amazing. I hope you're recovering all right. Okay, so this 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 piece now is going to go right in the front there. So just a bit of tape on the back there. along the top, all the sides again. Where's my tape? There it is. You're doing so well, everybody. Thanks for sticking with me. So this one here is going to go right on the front there. So that would be my main photo for my layout. Okay, so that one goes right in the middle there. I've got a bit of a coloured border around the outside. Great, so far we have our 10 photos on the inside, 11, 12 here. This one, I'm actually going to, this little piece here, I'm actually going to pop down there for another photo. So this one measures 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So that one there is just going to go there for a 3 by 3 photo. So if you want to pop one of those in there as well. So you'll get 10, 11, 12, 13 photos on this layout. And it's not too bulky for your albums. Okay, so that one I'm just going to pop under here. Make sure I can't see it when I close my flat down, so I want to move it up a little bit. There we go. So that one has gone in there. Right, so those are all part, we have now got all of these layouts in our paper now. So the last thing we want to do on the layout now itself is this piece of border that we cut off earlier. I want you to cut it down so we've got it into 4 strips. So I've got one strip there that finishes at leaves and then grow old, and then down the bottom here we've got finishing at colour and days. So I'm going to cut that down now. So we're going to cut it down to leaves, and I'm just going to trim it so that it's very close to the words there. So I want it to be nice and close to my words so it's quite small and doesn't take over my page. I just want it to sort of blend into my page. So you could use your trimmer for this if you're not confident doing by hand. Here we go. Okay, so I've just cut that down there. So what I'm going to do now is one of my scrap pieces of leftover black, I'm going to stick it down onto the black with a little bit of a black border around it like that and cut that out. So I prefer myself to pop it down first onto my black, give myself a little bit of a border on 2 sides, so on that left side and at the top there, and then when I cut it on my trimmer I make sure that when I trim it I've got a little bit of a black border there as well, like that. But if you prefer to measure it, go right ahead and do whatever makes you feel comfortable. That's just a quick and easy lazy way that I do mine. So if you want to go ahead and do the rest of those words, so that's that one there. Our next one is going to be grow old. So I'm going to cut the grow old off there. And I'm just going to cut it down again so it's a little bit thinner. Like that. Put a bit of tape on the back of there again, and then you're going to pop it onto your black again. So just put a bit of a black border around the outside. And then again, just cut it so that there's a little border around the other 2 pieces as well. So I'm just going to use my trimmer for that, but you can use your scissors if you prefer. There we go. Okay, so now we've got those 2 pieces there. We've just got 2 to go. So where's mine gone? There they are. Okay, so the next one is how full of light and colour, and we're going to cut it at colour on there and just trim it down again. I really should be doing this with a trimmer to make it nice and even, but I'm just going to eyeball my one. Okay, so that one's going to go on another piece of black, so a bit more tape on the back there. so just cut that down again, so a bit more of a black border around the outside there. Cut that down again on the end. Oh, mine's a little bit off center there, so I'm just going to re-stick that down. There we go. Okay, so we've got those 3 there now. And our last one is going to be all those words together. So don't get your words mixed up, keep them in nice order, so otherwise you end up with all sorts of weird stuff on your page. Okay, so we just cut that one down as well. And for your last one, you're just going to mount that onto black cardstock again. There we go. So just cut that border around there again. Right. So we now have all 4 of those. So I'm just going to pull those off my trimmer and move that out of the way. Now I am going to put a little bit of tape along there. If you prefer to use glue for this, but you can. So I'm just going to make sure I get my wording right. So how beautiful. So I'm just going to pop that just under my flower there. And grow old, I'm going to put on a little bit over to the right there. So I'm put a bit of tape on the back of that one. And across there. So these last 2 are going to go along this bottom piece here. So how full of light and colour is going to go along the bottom of my pocket page. Lost my tape. There it is. Nearly there, guys. You're doing so well. I'm so proud of you all. Doing really good. Okay, so that one's just going to go just at the bottom there. And my last piece, which I've got, oh, there it is. I'm just going to put on a bit of a side angle that way there. Jo Johnson, with her 3/4 designs, sometimes has these borders on the end, which are really good. So always save them. I've got a box full of these things, and Kaiser Craft have them on the bottom of their pages too. So always save them because they're always handy to have for later. Great. I think we're kind of done. Yep, I think we're done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to put it into your page protector. So if you have your page protector with you, go ahead and grab it now. So I want mine to go this way. So if you wanted it to go on the back of a page, make sure you flip it over to that side. So make sure this is on the side that you want it to go into your album. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the whole thing inside of my page protector here. So the whole thing goes in for now. Push it right down the bottom, make sure it's on that place that you want it to go. Now I'm going to use a whiteboard marker because I can wipe it off this really easily. If you don't have a whiteboard marker, just use a pen. It will make a bit of a mark, but you can just cut around the outside of the pen so you get rid of that mark. So just make sure it is in your page protector where you want it to be. I'm just going to take my whiteboard marker and I'm just going to put a mark on all 4 corners here. Okay, so just around those, can we see there? Just around those corners there. So I'm just going to do the top and bottom, so just on all 4 of those corners. Just like that. So what I'm going to do now is pull that out of there. And now we can see exactly where we want our pocket opening to go. So I'm just going to rule a line between all my points there now. So that I end up knowing exactly where I want to cut my page protector out. So just match up all those points. Like that. Okay. Now I want to use the middle piece of this to go on the outside of this photo because I don't want my photo being exposed outside of my cover. So I've actually used this piece in the middle here, and I've actually put it on top of this photo. So what I've done, I haven't put this in your kit because I wasn't sure if people would want to do it or not. So what I've done is I've actually cut this a little bit bigger. So if this is 4¼ by 4¼ I've actually cut my piece out of here to be 4½ by 4½, and then I've just poked a hole through each corner, popped a brad through, and now that photo is now going to be protected on the outside of my layout as well. The only one that's not going to be protected will be this one, but it will be protected when it's in your album. It just won't be protected when you've got this open. So that's another little tip if you wanted to do that. You don't have to cover it if you don't want to. I just like my photos to have some protection on the outside as well. So I've just gone ahead and put that on. So, and to do that, if you do want to use this middle piece, I suggest you get a cutting board, which I need to go and grab. So go grab your cutting mat. So if you have a cutting mat, we're just going to slip that inside the pocket, and we're just going to use our craft knife and a ruler to cut that out. Okay, so I'm just going to use my ruler, my craft knife, and I'm just going to cut that piece out there. So just follow your lines that you've made. I would do cut on the outside of your line if you've done a pen mark, just so that when you're cutting it, you get rid of that whole pen mark. If you're using a whiteboard marker, it doesn't matter, because you can get rid of that really easy by just wiping it off. Okay, so hopefully I've cut that out all right. Great, so this piece now you can use on this protecting your photo here. So I'm going to put that aside and do that in a moment, just so I can show you how to do it. So I'm just going to pull my board out now. And now I can just rub off those marks there so you don't see them. So if you're using a pen and not a whiteboard, I would cut around the outside of your pen this way so that you don't get any of that there. Oh, thank you, Esther. I'm so glad you like it. I love doing sort of interactive stuff, so this was right up my alley. So thank you so much for joining me, and you stay safe too. Right, so now we can put our layout into our page protector. So just carefully pop it in. We don't want to rip anything on our page protector there. So just pop it in carefully there. Just have a bit of a fiddle with it, just make sure it's in there. Right, so now that can go into your album, and we now have this flap opening here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this off, and I'm going to show you how to do this piece on the front here. So this piece here that we cut out of the middle, I'm just going to get rid of all the red on there. And I'm going to cut this piece down to 4½ by 4½, which is like 1/4 of an inch bigger than my photo mat there. You could do it exactly the same if you want, that's fine. Okay, so that now is going to be just a little bit bigger than my photo mat there. Thank you, Lynn. So nice to have you following along. And let me know if your kit doesn't arrive, okay? Because we really, really do care that you get them on time. And I'm very sorry that some of you didn't. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop that over the top of my photo mat. And I'm just going to get my pokey tool, and I'm going to poke a hole in all 4 corners there. So I'll just grab that. And now I'm just going to, so you would put your photo on there first before you do this, or you could do it later, whichever you prefer. So I'm just going to poke a little hole in that top corner there. And I'm just going to grab my brads. And I'm just going to poke one through that corner. So you go ahead and do that on all 4 of your corners there, and that will keep your photo nice and protected. So another one in this corner. and the last two corners. I love doing interactive layouts. I've been doing them for years now, but my biggest problem was always trying to get them into my album so that they were still protecting photos and still having that element to it that moves. So some of them you can, some that you can do, go ahead and do them because they are fun. I love interactive layouts. They're one of my biggest passions. So now that that's done, so I've got my page protector on there, I'm just going to stick that back over there. So now we have all the photos underneath protected. These are protected underneath this here, and this is now protected on the front there. So that is how you put an interactive layout into a photo sleeve. And I hope you had fun doing it. It's been a long class, so thanks sticking with me, everyone, and well done getting it done. We would still love to see what you've come up with on our Craft Immunities Facebook page, so please keep uploading your stuff on there. It is just so awesome seeing what everybody's doing. I just love it. It just brightens my day. So thank you guys for sharing everything on there. Thanks for joining me, and I'll just quickly show you what we're doing next week. So this is our next week's one. So this one you can get 2, 4, 6, 7 photos on that one. I'm going to show you again how to put it into a page protector so that all of your photos are protected as well. So that's next week's one. If you haven't ordered it online, go ahead and do that. If you have ordered it with this one, we do try and tell you what's coming up for about 2 weeks so that you can put your two kits together and just pay one lot of shipping. So if you are keen to do that one, go ahead and grab a kit or find some papers that you like, and you can follow along through the live feed with your own papers. And we will look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.